Today we're going to be talking to Jamie Pipe. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today we're going to be having a chat to a guy called Jamie Pipe. He's a really interesting musician. He's a UK touring musician, plays Hammond a fair bit, wouldn't you know? You may know him from his own band, the Mentulls, but also from Danny Bryant and the Martin Barr band as well. Martin Barr, erstwhile of Jethro Tull. So quite an interesting fellow. Done some nice pickup gigs, as we like to say, and we spend the next few moments having a chat to Jamie and discussing where he's come from, his career, what he's doing at the moment, his influences, what he likes, particularly about Hammond organs and other things, and possibly talk about his brother's guitar a little bit too much. I hope you enjoy this one. So, how are you doing? What have you been up to?
Not too bad, thanks. Well, I've just come back from doing the Danny Bryant recording in Chapel Studios. Have you been there
No,
before?
that is, you were saying, is that the one in Lincoln you were saying?
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's a great studio. Like, you I Heap have done something there recently.
Oh, really?
I mean, heard it was a great studio. You know, loads of people use it and stuff like that. And Danny's used it for the last couple of albums.
Right.
It went really well. You know, it's more of a produced album this time.
Because there's an organ there, isn't there?
Sorry.
There's a Hammond there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, but it didn't work, sadly.
Oh,
It hadn't been serviced.
It's what? Sorry.
I don't know. I think I don't know. It's like it was really old Hammond. It was I think it was one of the really like a BC organ or something.
Oh yeah. Without the
it's not a B3, but
without the percussion and stuff.
Yeah, so I haven't played one of those before, but I don't know if it would. I don't know how it's going to sound without the percussion, and didn't have any chorus on it either.
Oh, that's weird. Well, you're getting what you're getting, aren't you? You're getting that kind of Emerson-y kind of sound, and that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, but it hadn't been serviced, I don't think.
Right.
And the Leslie was in another room, so I just used my SK3C, you know.
Yeah.
And,
could you?
Obviously, didn't have. I don't know.
You couldn't put it through. You couldn't put it through the Leslie.
No, it's like, no, that was elsewhere as well. In another room that was all like stuff for junk, you know. No, but it came out all right, you know. It sounded fine, you know.
Yeah.
No, so it went well, you know.
I'm doing.
I'm not going to give away what.
Sorry, go on.
I'm not going to give away what it's going to be called and yet. So
no.
You know, I've got to keep it under wraps.
That's absolutely fine. I'm doing a session next week for this ATAC album, and all I have to do, I have to bring my clothes and some wine. It's brilliant. They've got this Frankenstein C3 there with all sorts of upgrades and repairs and stuff, and a beautiful 122 with some great mics. I just got to turn up. I haven't got to carry anything. I feel like a singer.
Did he say we was with some wine as well?
Oh yeah, just maybe a glass or something like that, you know, just to get going. But yes, I bought a few last time, and it was very helpful. We thought we were going to go maybe pop to the pub after the session, but then every night it's like 10:30 when we finish. So in the lovely big kitchen, it's residential, so it's a lovely big kitchen. Have a couple of glasses of wine, relax, and then go to bed and do it all again the next day, like.
Yeah, that's what a chapel was like, you know, because obviously the clues in the name, innit? Like the main the live room and the control room was in this old chapel, which was really nice.
Oh wow!
And then the accommodation was right next to it, residential, you know.
And
the chill out area was really, really good.
What about the did they use the chapel for some of the acoustics as well? Was that the angle?
Yeah, and they had so it's basically like a long chapel kind of thing there, and so there's like a door and then the live rooms there, and then there's like a wall, then there's a control room. And obviously when that was originally a chapel, they wouldn't have had that. It was quite a small chapel anyway.
Yeah. And
then next door connected to this kind of accommodation, so there's like, I think there's about 6 or 7 rooms there.
Nice.
And then and there's like a big kitchen area. And they're all lovely rooms, you know, nice cottage kind of rooms with beams and all that.
Oh, that's fine.
And it's great because you can just because we were recording from 9 a.m. till about kind of midnight type of thing, but we had breaks in between, and so we could just cook food whenever we wanted, and we could go to sleep if we wanted, and it's just brilliant, it's so much better than staying in a hotel and it's like, all right, we've got to finish at 5 today, so
it's proper rock
so
star
it's
stuff,
so
isn't it?
much better. It's probably well, yeah, it is, but it's probably one of the best places I've recorded, I think, because it's just so chilled out.
And we'll do the plug then. What
And
that was called Chapel House.
Chapel Studios in Lincoln,
Chapel
yeah.
Studios. Okay, fair play.
No, I think it's in Louth or something. Louth. I don't know Lincoln very well, but to get it, you've got to go around little Postman Pat, little kind of it takes an hour to get there. You've got to go down Postman Pat Road and everything. I got a bit travel sick on the way there, because
yeah. That sounds beautiful. So you're doing the Danny Bryant thing at the moment. Have you done a couple with him?
Yeah, I've been playing with Danny. The first gig I did, I've known Danny on the scene for a long time. Like my band, the Mentulls, I played with my brother. We did some support stops with Danny. I think it was 2013, I think. And such a nice guy, and then I've been really good friends since then, and I really like his music and everything. Just one of the nicest guys to work with, and he kind of puts everyone at ease because he's so friendly. And I got asked to do a gig with him in October 2021 in Holland, and basically that was the first gig back since lockdown.
Yeah.
For Danny anyway. And then gig went really well, and I've played with him since then when I can,
Oh, brilliant.
and we've got asked to do the album type of thing, and we went from there, and it sounds really good, and it's such a great track, to do.
And you mentioned the Mentals because I want to get onto them. Because I've heard a bit of stuff on Instagram because I got to know you via Instagram initially, I think, because every Hammond organ player in England knows everybody else, right? That's just how it is. But
we check everyone out, don't we?
Yeah, I guess I really like the music. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that, and then we'll talk about your brother's guitar?
Yeah. Well, the Mentulls, it's my own band that I have with my brother, and we've been doing it for I think for about 13, 14 years, and it's kind of like it's like a melodic rock band, we're influenced by Toto, Wishbone Ash type of thing.
Yeah.
And we've been going for 13 years, and we've had different changes and stuff like that. And that's what we've done since we were kids, it's a band we formed when we were kids,
Oh, really? And you stayed with it?
Yeah, we have stayed with it because me and brother have got such a great relationship. We're like musical brothers. I mean, some brothers kind of fight and all this. And but music brought us together.
It's absolutely
I'm the older brother. My brother's the younger brother.
It's absolutely right about music. There's such similarities because you play organ and your brother is the guitar player and plays Hamer.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Now I play organ.
He does.
And I was in a band with my brother for 15, 20 years, and he had a Hamer Sunburst, right?
Yeah.
And what my brother now does, he kind of manages me in a way. He helps with the sound and the equipment and the whole sort of mentoring thing. So he's doing a vicarious. He's not playing live anymore, but he's vicariously being involved in the music business by helping me now. But with the same thing, and we never argue. We never do proper arguments as well. Like you see a lot of siblings, but I think if you've got music, it tends to keep you together, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I think it's made us even more stronger because we've just got such a great working relationship and we're very close, And my brother got the Hamer Sunburst because of Martin Barr, because that's his guitar hero, like first guitar hero.
Yeah.
And he was, he was watching, Martin in the 80s play a Hamer, like on Bursting Out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That Sunburst one.
That's right.
And ever since he was a little kid, he's wanted one, And then he was, when you search all around for some piece of gear you really want.
Yeah.
And he was looking on Reverb, and some guy in Leeds put one up for sale, and it was the exact. It was it was a vintage 80s Hamer Sunburst, and it was the exact one he always wanted. And he went and tried it out, and had to think about it, and he just had to buy it, because he was like, I think it was originally from Guitar Point or something in Germany, and it got shipped over, and this guy from Leeds bought it, and then my brother just happened to get it, and I think it's one of those things where, even if you don't have the money to get something, you find the money anyway or borrow it just to buy it because you really, really want it, and I think he was like, well, I'm not going to see one like this again, and it needed setting up a little bit, but apart from that, it was in a good state, You're
right.
Scratches and bits, but
you're right about the about how rare they are. I mean, they haven't gone crazy on the value, which is surprising.
No.
And we're talking about this on a Hammond organ podcast, but I'm up for it. But they, I think the Hamer sound, and certainly that sound that Martin Barr did on Bursting Out, is one of the best guitar sounds I've ever heard. I think
it is. I agree with Andrew as well. It's just obviously it's in his fingers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because but it's a great sound, on that the Thick as a Brick Live, Madison Square Garden as well,
Oh God, that's and I happen to say I think his solo that brings the flute solo in was probably the best one he's done on that Madison Square Gardens as well.
Yeah.
Really, really dramatic as well. We could do an entire podcast on Jethro Tull as well, but I think there might only be you, me, and your brother going to be listening to it, unfortunately. But I mean, that brings me on to you did some work with Martin Barr as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was last year. Yeah, I mean, I became friends with him just through a festival we played. Do you know if you heard of a festival called New Day Festival?
Yeah, very much so.
Kent.
Yeah, David Reese.
Yeah, Dave Reese. Yeah, and a really nice guy. We've known Dave for a while, and the Mentulls, we were playing a slot there years ago. I can't remember where it was, quite a few years ago. And I think there wasn't many kind of dressing rooms available, so bands had to share with,
Yeah.
And so the Mentulls were sharing Martin Barr, and then we just got chatting, and just a humble kind of guy, just started chatting. And then when we were playing our set, he just was kind of watching type of thing. And then, just kept in contact. Andrew kept in contact with him. And then he just kind of emailed and said, "Oh, Jamie, want to play keys for these two shows?" So that it was headlining the New Day Festival, and then it was a festival in Durham up our way called Northern Kin Festival.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
And I was, definitely, I'll definitely do it.
Oh, a bit shaky at that one.
Yeah. Well, I was very nervous about it, because I think when I was at rehearsal level, we could tell I was nervous, because obviously Jethro Tull music, Andy Giddens was the reason I wanted to do this as my job, So I was kind of like, when I was driving there, I was like nervous but very excited at the same time.
Yeah.
And now the set list we were doing was like the whole of Aqualung, because it was the 50th anniversary of Aqualung. So it was kind of Aqualung in the entirety. So it was all in the album, or the album format, And then we did some of Martin Barr's solo stuff as well, which I'm a big fan of as well. I don't know if you've ever checked out some of his solo albums, but they're really good.
Very much have. Right from the beginning with the instrumentals, Bug B and Bug C, and all those songs that he did ages ago now.
Oh, yeah. Was it Chuck a Memory, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could talk about them. We could do a whole interview on Martin Barr albums, couldn't we?
Like a deep dive. So, but that must have been a great experience. And didn't he? I think he had. Did he have the old drummer? Was Bunker on there as well?
Yeah, Clive Bunker. Yeah, Clive Bunker. Clive Bunker just did the New Day. So there's two drummers, with Darby Todd, and then there was Clive Bunker.
Right.
And then Clive did half of the set. He kind of came up for the Aqualung stuff.
Gotcha.
No, it's great to play with him as well. Still a great drummer.
Yeah.
And such a legend to play with. And a very nice guy as well. And
I'll give you
kind of got to pinch yourself. When you.
Oh yeah, I know. I'll give you a random Aqualung fact. Did you know the album has no reverb on it? There you go.
Actually, I never thought of that. But when I listen to it in my head, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have any, does it?
Yeah, he didn't want it. He wanted it all close and no reverb. And when Steve Wilson remixed it, I really wanted him to like just to see what it would be like, just to sort of EQ and separate. But I think everything is bounced so much. They must have been on an 8-track in 71, 70, 71.
Yeah.
I think everything's so bounced you couldn't pull it back out again.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because when I've listened to it, I've never thought about the no reverb. But when I listen, when I think now, there isn't any reverb or anything, is there?
Absolutely bizarre. So there you go.
There's
your random Aqualogue fact. Let's get on to organs, before everyone goes to sleep. So what are you playing at the moment?
Well, live as my main organ, it's just an SK3C. Top bit, bottom manual, and the wooden stand. And I love it. And I know Hammond have brought new stuff out since like the SK1 and the SK5.
Yeah.
But I think I might upgrade to the SK5 maybe a few years, but I'm just kind of happy with the SK3C at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just doing its thing.
I don't.
And I put that through like a 415 Leslie, and the ventilator when I've got to use a ventilator. But now I'm just really enjoying it, and it's just a really good organ. It just does its job, and it looks good.
Really?
Sounds good,
Great. Looks
and you
great.
can take it in a soft bag, and you can the wooden thing goes on hinges. You can put that in the van. You can put that in soft case. So it's I'm actually loving it still. Not getting bored of it yet.
I tell you,
ever get bored of it.
I mean, I did move from the XK3C to the XK5, but that's more. But that's more because of me and how anal I am, to be honest. But there was nothing wrong with the 3 at all. Right. There's nothing wrong with the 3C. The sim is better, but I wouldn't use the sim anyway because I don't think the sim's up to scratch.
No, I wouldn't. No.
And if it was a better sim, they wouldn't sell any Leslies. So they've got a difficult sort of thing to pull off there, haven't they?
Yeah, it's true.
But I loved it. I sold my XK3C to Joe. I must get him on, actually. He played in Pure Purple and he plays with a Rod Stewart tribute. And I
remember seeing on social media he did.
Yeah, I think he hasn't played it for a while, so it might go off. And that had a homemade keyboard stand made from like bits of wood and balustrades and some cross members on the back and stuff like that. Because
I saw that. Yeah.
That's mine. That is. Well, because it was. I mean, the stand was £642. I think it might be even more now.
I think it is even more now for the. Yeah.
It's awful. You could spend £650 on a seat for that organ.
I know. Yeah. I'd love the they do that wooden bench where you can fold it up.
Yes.
Where you can sit on it.
Yeah, it's really
I love
cool.
One, but I just can't afford it.
It's too expensive. I must admit, I've got the bench for this C, and we use it in the front room. It's quite nice to put ornaments on and stuff like that. But
put some cups of tea and drums on it.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And you know what? The 5's very good. There's no doubt about it. The effects are a little bit better, I think. It has its foibles, but what I wish that they would all do is simply match the wood colour to the stand.
Yeah. I've seen I've seen pictures where it's kind of like someone's bought the top and bottom, and the stand's been a different tone of colour, isn't it?
Yeah, in fact, sometimes it's quite a lot, and you'll notice mine isn't, and mine isn't because I paid a guy to strip it down. And revarnish the front to the same colour because it was under certain light the stand was looking cherry red, really quite red, and the top wasn't looking red. But they're a different material because in this studio I've got a camera somewhere knocking around. Where's my hand go? That way. There's a little security camera, and it does infrared. And when it looks down on infrared, my XK5 is all, it goes white, and it's all white in infrared, except for the top bit, which is black in infrared. So it's obviously it's a different material. So it must be quite hard for them to. I assume there's some veneer going on somewhere, and it's hard for them to match, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you were spending 5,300 on it, you'd expect it to match, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it would. You know, it's like it's got to look like it's connected, doesn't it? You know, it's like a solid thing. You know.
Yeah, like it's a B3, isn't it? That's what it's supposed to look like, I guess.
Yeah.
And it does work because I've had a lot of people say to me, "How are you going to get that home, mate?" And they stop and watch, don't they?
Yes, exactly. To me, yeah.
Yeah, you take the top off.
Uh,
I
uh,
mean, in many ways, the three is better for that because the top and bottom, it's in three pieces: top, bottom, and stand.
yeah, it is.
And the five, which isn't behind me at the moment, I'm pointing it down there. You fix the top into the bottom and screw it in, and it's its own thing. So that has to go in one piece, the top and the bottom, and then the stand. So
Yeah.
it's a bit more cumbersome to move around. But we love it, don't we?
Yeah, I've noticed that yours is like. Yeah, I've noticed yours is like there's two manuals together. You know.
Yeah. You have
Did you
to.
put that in like a case together?
No, what happens is you can buy the top manual on its own, and it's just an organ with wooden end cheeks, and then when you buy the lower manual, you get the lower manual comes with higher sides, much higher sides, and then you
Right.
unscrew
Yeah.
unscrew the end cheeks and then slot it in. And what I really like is Hammond give you two pieces of plastic as well to put on either side, so as you're slotting it in, you're not scratching any of the wood as you're going down.
Uh,
And then underneath,
yeah, I think I've seen an unboxing video or something.
I did that. Yeah. That's the unboxing. You know
Yeah,
what?
you did. That was your video, wasn't it?
You know what? I mean, a lot of people watch that video. People love unboxing. I don't know. Don't know why. So you mentioned influences. I wanted to pick up on that. We can start with the obvious, and Andrew hopefully is going to be one of the guests on this podcast as well soon, which would be great. But you say
Oh,
that
brilliant.
you're influenced heavily by Andrew, as am I actually.
Yeah, Andy Giddins. Well, I mean, this is pre-Hammond, you know.
Yeah.
So obviously, when I was like 7 or 8, I knew I wanted to be a keyboard player, and then I watched the Living with the Past DVD, you know, from Hammersmith.
Yep.
Um, you know, they played Roots to Branches and everything, and then I was just watching Andrew Giddins' parts on, you know, Cross-Eyed Mary, you know, the A minor sex do,
Yeah.
and then I just like mesmerised by that, you know, and I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. You know, that's in the upper regions are cool, you know, what he's doing. And just like blown away by his sounds, you know, and his playing, you know, and then that I've since then I was like, that's what I want to do, you know. And then and people like John O'Hara as well, you know, who came into Tull after that, a great player as well, and I was really inspired by him as well. And then then I was gigging with like a Casio keyboard, another Yamaha keyboards that had an organ sound on it.
Oh yeah.
And then the Mentulls, we did a support slot for Focus at the Robin 2 in Bilston. You know, I can't remember. I think it was 2012 or something.
Right.
And they turned up, and this kind of night was at the night that changed my life to be a Hammond player. You know,
Right.
and so it converted me to a keyboard player, to like a Hammond player that plays Hammond but keyboards on the side. You know.
Yeah.
And so we turned up at this gig. And you know where the side door is at the Robin 2, like the side loading, and Tice Van Leeuwen was kind of like warming up on his B3 and his 1-2-2, you know, and you could hear it echoing, you know, and it was just the most amazing sound. He's playing all these like class jazz licks that he does, you know, and licks that I try and work out, but I just can't work them out. And it was just the most amazing playing and the most amazing sound, you know, that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And then he looked over and seen that we'd arrived, and he stopped playing, which was nice. And he came over and said hello.
Oh, that's not.
And he's such a nice guy, you know. And then I remember setting my Casio up next to his Hammond, you know, and just thinking, right, I've got to play Hammond now. This is what I've got to do.
Great.
You know.
Great. I love it.
And after that, I just saved up and got on. And it just that you know, I'm glad that day happened, because if it hadn't happened, you know, I don't know if I would have been speaking to you here.
It's amazing.
But that was just a magical day that I knew I wanted to be a more of a Hammond guy, you know.
And he's
but influences, you know.
He's now playing. He's playing an XK, isn't he? But he's done something very strange to it. I can't remember. I'm trying to picture it in my head. The power supply is missing. It's ever so odd. So he's playing a 3 or a 5, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Focus's sound guy, Gert, I think what he's done is so you can plug it in from inside at the bottom or something.
Ah, right, okay.
I don't know why.
I did like it.
I saw pictures of him. I saw pictures of him playing it. And I was like, he's got no power, you know.
He's miming. How's he doing that? Well, I did like the XK3C for the bit under that recess underneath. And I don't know if you did the same as me, but you tried about 10 or 12 sound modules to see if you could get one in there, and then trigger a mid piano or something like that.
No, I didn't try that. No, but I think that's what Gert did from Focus. I think he put it in so you could plug it from inside. I don't know. That's just what I've seen on
strange, isn't it?
Pictures and stuff.
So what was the? I say that was a thing that changed your life to a Hammond thing. But what was the first thing that you heard that you thought I want to be a keyboard player? Did you have piano lessons as a kid, or was it just something you picked up?
Yeah, I did have piano lessons, but I think I kind of went to the wrong teachers type of thing.
Right.
I tried like a proper kind of classical piano lessons. I mean, I won't to go on too much about it, but I went to a guy that lives down the road from me, like quite a very old type of guy.
Yeah.
And he was very kind of like, he obviously very classical, you know, but he was very kind of traditional type of thing. And it's the kind of thing where if you mess up, you got to go right back to the beginning again, you know. And I kind of my mum took me for a lesson, you know, and he said, "Well, play me something." So I kind of played him a little thing. He said, "Can you play me something where you use both hands?" And I did. He said, "Oh, that was quite good." And then he kind of gave me this book of music, and he said, "Right, okay, well, this book here. This is for people who are, you know, who want to take music seriously. So you better look at this before you come next time." And it was just like a book of like nursery rhymes and hymns type of thing, you know.
Okay.
And I was like, that's not what I want to do, you know.
No, that's not.
Nothing wrong with doing that, you know. But that's not what I want to do, you know. So I just didn't have lessons from him. And I've just kind of become self-taught, you know.
Yeah.
I just taught myself and just played by ear type of thing. And I've just picked stuff up. I picked chords up, picked solos up, improvising, you know.
And I mean,
you know, I'm not on the same level as other people, but I just want to get better all the time.
Yeah,
and play as much as I can.
Well,
that's how I've done.
Very similar.
That's how I've just.
Yeah,
I've just done it.
Sorry, we've got a bit of delay there.
Yeah.
We're very similar. I had a few. I've always wanted to play organ, so I heard Machine Head. Someone taped it for me, and I was totally gone. And I went to a little Yamaha music school, and they had 6 organs, and they had all these kids learning the organs with the pace pedals and all that kind of stuff because it's organ, right? And every weekend, and this will date me, I learned like Kaylee from Marillion. And I went in, I said, "Oh, look, I've learned how to play this," you know. And everyone else just looked at me like, "What's this guy?" You know. And then eventually they all dropped out, and it was me and the teacher. And eventually I thought, well, it's not really, like you say, it's not going the way you want it to go, is it?
No.
No.
But I'm glad I made that. I'm glad I followed my heart, you know. And I did kind of like. I did music AS at college as well when I left school, and I mean, so I kind of had that bit of the funny experience with the piano teacher.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, maybe I should learn a bit of kind of theory and a bit of classical stuff, because if you think about it, like Thijs van Leer is very classical influence, you know.
Yeah.
And so is stuff like Keith Emerson was, you know, they were, you know. And so I did music AS at college. And everyone in the class, I felt like quite like an outsider, you know, because there was a small class of about 5 or 6 of us, and I think there was, you know, they're all great players, you know, they're all classical players. Like my friend James, he was a piano player. Then there was a few lasses that played violin which were really good, and then another guy who was a classical piano guy.
Oh, wow.
And you know, they were just so advanced at the classical stuff, and I was like the outsider, just a rock and roll keyboard player, you know, didn't know any theory. So I didn't feel insecure about it or anything or threatened about it. I just was like, I'm doing my thing, you know, and I just ended up dropping out of that because I was like, you know, I'm just got to do what I want to do, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I think, you know,
now you can ad lib and they can't, because that tends to be the thing that I notice, is that the people who have trained themselves seem to be better at ad libbing. However, I don't know about you, but I find myself I'm trapped in certain phrases, and I really need to get out more musically and try and get some new licks and phrases to drop in between the nice stuff.
yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat, you know, because obviously, you know, you pick up licks all the time,
Yeah,
and phrasing and stuff like that, you know, and sometimes you just be noodling around and come up with licks, you know. And I went for a lesson with a guy called Chris Groom who lives near me, you know, and he's an amazing kind of keyboard player, very trained type thing. I said to him, look, could I just have like an hour's lesson, and just I'll show you some of the stuff I play when I improvise. Could you just show me how to, like, you know, tighten up a little bit type
yeah,
thing, you know? And it helped a lot, you know. It will. I mean, he showed me some theory stuff, you know, and that helped a little bit. But it was stuff like, you know, how to, when I do a solo, kind of maybe start like with less notes and build it up a bit,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
which was quite a good help. You know, he showed me other ways to, like, you say if you're playing in C, don't start a lick with a C note, use a different note in the scale type of thing, you know.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm still confused about with theory as well, you know. I just when someone shows me theory, I just get confused about it. But it's a really good eye opener, just now and again, just to say to someone, look, I'm playing these licks, you know, could you help me get round to play something different, you know?
Definitely no, and if you want, I learned dynamics from one Deep Purple song, which was the organ solo in "No No No" off Fireball. I don't know if you know it,
Oh yeah,
but it starts with just two drawbars out and four up on the percussion. It's like, and he's going da 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 da, and you can feel him bringing in all the drawbars and getting bigger and bigger, then getting chords, then doing the 12 pedal until he's eight all the way out, and really going into it, and then it stops and goes back into the song again. It's such a nice bit of music, and there is actually a little mistake on it as well, where he clashes two notes as he's going down. But it's the groove on it. I was going to say, have you seen Rick Beato's book, the Beato Book?
no, I haven't.
It's not that expensive, and you can get it from his website. But it's basically he's written a book on musical theory, basically, and he keeps updating it and updating it. And it's the most accessible that I've found, because I find these things not very accessible. But he goes into all the modal stuff.
Yeah.
We got all the usual circular fifths and all that kind of stuff. Then he gets into, because he's a bit of a modal genius, isn't he? Frankly, he's an amazing player. If you haven't seen him, your brother will know him. Yeah, but so well.
No, it sounds like something I could benefit from, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Something to do with theory that I can understand a bit more, you know. I can kind of benefit a bit more. Sounds like something would help me a bit.
Well,
you know?
that's the thing, is we're always learning, aren't we? You know, I do a lot of videos with the organ and stuff, and I'm at pains to say, if you want a great player, you don't have to choose me, because I'm not the best player. I'm nowhere near the best player in the world. You know, I might be the best player in that person's living room at that moment, but they could flick on to someone who's far better than me. So you just get what you can, and hopefully the reason why you get invited to play with Martin Barr is because you've got the style and you've got the feel, and I don't think that comes in classical training.
No, it doesn't. I mean, before we say that, your videos are great. You know, I mean, I've learned stuff from your videos. You know, when you've been talking about, like, you know, I think your videos are just so chilled out. You know, and it's just chilled out, and it's like a formal chat, really. You know,
Yeah,
it's not just, you know, it's just really chilled out. And I've learned stuff from your videos. You know, and they're great. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Martin maybe saw that I was like to do the rock thing, you know, could play organ, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe knew I was a fan of Tull.
Well, yeah,
you know, but no, I just you know, I don't know theory, but I can use my ear, you know, and I found that I learn more just through watching, like, you know, John Law videos and Tyson Van Leer videos, and kind of like trying to work out something on I've written out, you know.
Oh yeah.
But my mum's a great a pianist, you know, and she can read all the music, you know. But if someone put that in front of me, I'd be clueless.
I know. I worry about that when it comes to depths and sessions and stuff like that, you know, because if someone said, well, it's all written out, and you go, well, you know, I've got a problem there, you know, and I have to. It's the imposter in you, isn't it? So you have to think, right, I've been invited here because there's something particular that they want that I can give them, and it's not reading notes. So you got, and I'm the worst at it, but I have to try and put it to the back of my mind, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I worry about that sometimes. Like someone asks me to do something, but I mean, there's times like I've been patronised for not playing music. You know, I mean, I've played with like older musicians who are really on with the theory, and when I turn up and say I'll just play stuff by ear, I've learnt the set by ear, you know, and I've been patronised a bit. I'm not going to say who it is, you know, but it just everyone's on a different path, you know, and people have different influences, you know, and just because someone reads someone doesn't mean they're you know, not as good as somebody else, you know.
No, often
I think, you know, everyone should just be respectful.
yeah, it's often
You know.
it's often the case that they're not as good. You know, I think they might be able to do a session quicker. You know, I think that's pretty obvious. And if the session doesn't require any particular style or flamboyance on the
Yeah,
keys, then you go and get the reader straight away. But if you want someone to rock a Hammond organ in a way that only sounds like you, then you're the only guy who can do that.
well, yeah, I mean, same with you. I agree with the session thing. You know, there's like you know, some sessions where I think where someone can go in and it's quite jazzy and stuff like that, and they put the chords in front of them and they just nail it straight away, and it's great. You know, it's talent that I don't have. You know, but as you say, yeah, with the Hammond thing, you know, it's a different thing, isn't it? But everyone should be equally, you know, because everyone's on a different path and has come from a different background. You know, that's what I think.
You're absolutely right. And you know, I mean, because my hobby is spotting Hammond organ players who are piano players, right? And the way to spot them is they have all of the drawbars in, and they're running off the presets, you know. And I go, hello, what's going on there? Because part of the organ thing, and I'm in danger of repeating myself from different videos, is all around that kind of movement of the sound, isn't it? It's almost organic, and people think I'm crazy when I say that, but you all know what I mean. And you can move it around, and you can make it sound like you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because when I'm, you know, when I'm playing a song on stage, you know, obviously I've got my foot on the expression pedal all the time, and I'm changing the drawbar settings through the song. You know, sometimes on a verse I'll back the drawbars in a bit, and then when there's a chorus I'll pull them out. And if say like when I play with Danny Bryant, you know, when he does a full on guitar solo, I'll pull a lot of the drawbars out so it fills it out more. Because obviously, when we do the 4-piece gigs, there isn't like a rhythm guitarist, you know.
Yes, exactly.
It's just me on. It's just Danny guitar and vocals, Paul on bass, and Dave on drums, you know, and me on keys. So there isn't the rhythm guitar on the 4-piece gig. So I pull the drawbars out to really, you know, fill in the sound.
And
you know,
and
I mean, you know, Danny,
I was going to say,
Danny's got a big guitar sound anyway. You know, he sounds like Leslie West when he's playing sometimes. He's got a big guitar sound anyway. But that's what I do. I change the drawbar settings through the songs, and there's some songs where Danny takes it really down in the set really quietly, and I've got to push all the drawbars back in, and we've got to be watching until it goes up again. You know.
And when you're under a solo like that,
yeah,
because there's two types of organ player really. There's the guy who sits there with the held notes playing fours, pads. And then there's someone who's been a bit more rhythmical, and I come from the John Lord bit, right? So this is a second guitar kind of thing. But when you're playing with Danny under the solo, what are you doing?
Well, I'm kind of like you. I mean, I like to keep it simple, really. Like there's a track called we do in Danny Band called Heartbreak, which is my favourite tracks. It's quite an old song of Danny's, and I just like. And the riff goes and I just kind of like when the riff first comes in before the band, I hold like a high air, like, and when it comes in, I just play the riff on organ, you know, and when he's doing the solo, I just kind of play the riff on big chords on Hammond, you know.
Yeah.
And I think on the more bluesy stuff, I do some rhythmical stuff, but I just kind of keep it simple and pad it out, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I do.
And I mean, gigging with the Pure Purple band has taught me loads more about that rhythm stuff. That and playing the guitar. Basically, everything that John Lord did was just. I mean, it was a guitar. He just didn't know how to play a guitar. That was the worst thing about John Lord. So we had to do it on the organ instead. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. So
I'll learn a lot from everything, you know.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you. We came off the influences. It'd be really what if you wanted me to go and buy 3 albums, I don't know, stream albums. What 3 albums would you recommend to sort of encapsulate what made you sound how you do?
That's a tough one, you know. So 3 albums.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Only. I think it would be. I think it would be. You know the album Focus 3.
Yep.
You know the. You know that. I think it would be that one.
Yeah.
And then. Do you know? Do you know? Obviously, that Living with the Past DVD. You know, you can get it on CD.
I do know it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it would be that for the second one.
Fair.
And then the first 2 are easy, but the third one's really difficult, you know, because it's like you don't want to miss anything important. Now it's like, you know, when someone puts you on the spot, you go blank, don't you?
I'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. Do 2 if you want to, and we'll come back. We'll come back to the third one.
Yeah, just for now, just those 2, you know. I think. Yeah.
And with musical instruments now, is there something that you think you need to buy, and what is it?
I think I want to buy like a nice digital piano now, because I've never really had a proper weighted 88 key digital piano, you know. I play piano on my SK161 note, you know.
Yeah.
So at the moment I'm thinking of buying, you know, if I can afford it, like a nice digital piano weighted keys.
No.
Because in the Danny Bryant set there is a lot of blues piano, you know, and it's got to be like a piano that's got like a nice Rhodes sound or like an EP sound.
I got you.
So just something like that, you know. And Hammond wise, I don't think I need to buy anything else. I'm just happy, you know. As I say, I'm happy.
I think you are. I'm hoping to review a piano soon. The Legend, the one that is just. It sounds too good to be true. It's an amazing piano that you can change modular bits in and out, and it does a really nice.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard of it.
Well, Hammond UK.
Yeah, I think I've heard.
Our good friend, our mutual friends at Hammond UK, also can supply some of these bits and bobs. And I was speaking to the guys there, and they said they might drop one of those round for me to have a look at, because I'd love to sit it, if not on top, but next to my Rhodes. And go, you know, 1 for 1 on weight and portability and sound.
Yeah, I'm really jealous that you've got a Rhodes, because I've always wanted a Rhodes. You know, I've always wanted a Fender Rhodes, so I'm very jealous of it behind you. You know.
Well, you've got to be 50 to own one, so don't be too jealous. My wife, my gorgeous wife, bought me that for my 50th birthday. And I mean, so you know, you've got to be 50, and you don't want that, do you? So you'd have to live with it.
No, well, I'm not 50 and I don't have a wife, or I don't even have a lass, you know, at the moment. So I'm not going to get one for a long time. I'll probably never get one.
Well, you will. But that was it was quite a lot, actually. That was a reconditioned one. It's a very, very early 80s, which is when the quality started to come back before it dropped off again. So it's not the really expensive sparkle top stuff, but it's a stage one. It's beautiful. I have not gigged it yet, but you never know.
You should do. I bet it sounds great.
Well, you know, if you ever need one, give me a shout if you're local.
Oh, thanks. Man, I always appreciate it. You know, thank you.
No problem. You'll have to put up with me.
I think we've Yeah, well, no, well, thanks, but I think you never see, you know, when you go on Facebook Marketplace and eBay, you never see many of them for sale, do you?
No. There's only a couple of places, but I do know a good place in London which I can hook you up with next time you feel that you can spend the money on it. But I know a guy who basically he reconditions them. He's on his 300th, I think he's doing now.
Oh, bloody
Yeah,
hell.
yeah.
No, I think they're so sought after that people don't sell them, and I think there's a lot of them in studios as well, you know, that people use. So I think it's you know, but you know, if I ever had the money, I'd definitely get one.
I
You know,
think I was the studio I'm at next week has got in the corner this really unassuming little Wurlitzer piano. You know, the one that Tin Soldier was done on. You know, Four Faces.
uh,
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
It probably needs a bit of work, to be honest, but it's absolutely beautiful. So what? I've got a couple of other questions for you, and then I'll let you go. But what I'm interested in people's work ethics, and if you only had 30 minutes a day to improve your playing, what would you advise people do?
30 minutes to
Yeah,
improve. Um, well, I've never. I mean, I try and practice every day and play every day as much as I
yeah,
can, but I don't really think about what I do. Um, and I just kind of like noodle and like you know in different keys and kind of come up with new licks and stuff like that. And I sometimes learn them from YouTube videos, but sometimes I just kind of definitely if I'm on piano, just like just 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 come up with chord sequences and things like that.
yeah.
And just I think just playing exercise. You know, I don't really have any rules or things I go
So
by. I just kind of and sometimes maybe jam to YouTube videos.
maybe
You know, like backing
the
tracks. You
message
know,
is make sure you do 30 minutes a day. Then maybe that's the thing, isn't it? And just make that time all the time to do it.
yeah,
Well, that's really interesting. So
yeah. I think because I know people. Yeah, because I know people that kind of practice kind of 6 7 hours a day, which is great. But I just think if you can sit down for like half an hour or like an hour and just play every day, you just feel great after it, don't
yeah,
you?
yeah, you really do.
I think.
You really do. And you know, I'm lucky. I've got a bit of a studio, and I can go away in a bit of peace and quiet with almost the lights off. Got a lovely old
Yeah,
Hammond
it's
organ.
amazing.
I can just go and tinker away, and then you come out and you feel strangely cleansed, don't you?
You do, you do. It's like having a back massage or something, you know.
So what are you working on now? You've just finished the Danny album. You've still got the Mentulls. What's the future for you?
Well, I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm just going between Danny Bryant and the Mentals. Really, you know, I'm very happy to be, you know, given the opportunities I've been given. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, the Mentals obviously I've been doing for 13 years. You know, it's my band, with my brother. So, but basically, with the Mentals, we've got a new album out called Recipe for
right.
Change, and you can buy that at thementals.com. And if you're into like melodic rock, like Toto, Journey, um, and bands like that, you love the record. You
Right.
know, it's just you know it's kind of like it's got some great. It's you know it's probably the best work we've done so far, and it's got some great songs. You know, it's basically radio friendly songs. You know, but it's still got some proggy overtones in there. You know,
Excellent.
and there's Hammond in there, there's synth type of thing. And me and my brother, you know, we're really proud of it. You know, and it's we've got some Planet Rock play with it, and we've got in classic rock, you know, and so we've achieved what we wanted to achieve, you know, and the fans live have been really liking
Brilliant.
it. You know, it's a lot different to our past albums, you know, because our past albums were very blues rock albums, but this is, you know, Journey,
Yeah.
Toto, a lot of great production, you know. So it was produced between my brother Andrew Pipe and Wayne Proctor, if you heard of Wayne Proctor.
Yeah.
Um, but no, we're really pleased with it, and obviously Danny Bryant. We've just finishing. We've just come back home from just this week, you know, recording the new record. It's going to be released later on this year. Don't know yet. I'd want to keep it under wraps, don't want to ruin
Yeah.
it. And that sounded amazing. You know, it's the first time I've worked with Danny in the studio,
Oh, right.
and I was just so amazed how chilled out I was and how friendly everybody was. And we had a really good producer who was producing it, a guy called Ian Dowling. I don't know
No,
if you've heard of him,
no, I
Ian
haven't. No.
Dowling. No, he's a great guy, and he's a Grammy Award-winning engineer and producer, and he's done some really big stuff. He's done Adele's biggest
Yeah.
stuff. He's done like Catfish and the Bottleman and KT Tunstall. And when we met him in pre-production, he was just really friendly, you know, and he's so friendly, and he puts everyone at ease, you know, and he sees the best in everybody.
Brilliant.
You know, and he's just so chilled out, you know, because, you know, normally in the studio we'd be working all day, and I'd have a beer at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'd just chill out, and then he'd be like, right, do you want to come and do some piano? Yep, okay. And he'd say to Danny, do you want to come and do a take?
Right.
So it was such a great experience to work with him, and obviously work with Danny in the studio and Dave and Paul as well. You know, and again, you never stop learning. You know, so with Danny Bryant, we've just recorded that, and then we're just going to be basically with Danny touring through the year, really. You know, touring Europe, Germany. So basically, if you check out DannyBryant.com as well, so you can people watching this, you can keep an eye out for the album release later on the year, and keep an eye out for the gigs. You know. And there is going to be some UK gigs in February. We're doing the Flower Pot in Derby, and then we're doing the Greystones in Sheffield, and then Barn Holdswick. So that's early February. So if people want to check out DannyBryant.com for those dates, because you know, so I'm just you know, just thankful to be doing what I'm doing, you know, and happy that tours have come back and gigs have come back and people are coming to gigs again, you know.
Yeah.
So now I'm just excited, you know, for what the year holds.
That's
you know, I'm just excited for what it holds.
That's fantastic.
You know.
Well, you know,
I'll just try my best.
You're annoyingly young and annoyingly talented, so I think your future is pretty good. Actually, I think it's pretty much guaranteed. Thank you very much for spending some time to talk to me today. Hopefully, we'll have another chat another time, perhaps.
No, it's an honor to speak to you. You know, it's an honor to speak to you. You know, and we'll have to, you know, meet up in Birmingham or something. You know. And I'll have to get, I'll come and have a look at your studio, you know, and show me some expertise, you know, you've got,
Keep it Groove Laboratory. Brilliant. Thank you for your time.
No, I wanted to speak to you, you know. And, no, thanks very much.
Brilliant. Speak to you later. Thank you. So there we are. What an interesting chat. What an interesting guy. What a nice guy. What a dangerously young and talented guy as well, unfortunately for me. I really enjoyed having a chat with Jamie. I think he's the kind of guy that I'll meet up quite regularly. He's playing locally to me in the next couple of months, so I'll pop and see him as well, and I could report back on how that went. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was quite a nice one, I thought, for me. They're all quite nice. To be honest, it's lovely to be able to chat to these people. There'll be more in the series coming up soon. I've got some interesting names lined up, and we'll see how those goes. And otherwise, I shall see you later. Thank you very much.